Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVDA Daily Analysis. So NVIDIA was down today as I expected in my previous video. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA stock price movement for tomorrow and early next week using latest financial data, economic calendar, and technical charts. We'll also discuss the impact of PCE data that's going to be reported tomorrow. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 121.36. It made a high 124.43. It made a low 116.71 and it closed at 117.59. That is 6.38% down. So today's drop is in line with my yesterday expectation. I made a comment in my yesterday video that after earnings looks to me that Nvidia should be going down today. Because in my opinion, even if Nvidia earnings and the financials were good, but not very impressive. And I noted that some people were upset when I read the comments in my previous video. They think that Nvidia financials and earnings were great. I understand that Nvidia has a bright future and positioned very well. But market was expecting better numbers yesterday than they reported. Let me clarify what I mean. I put together the summary of the financial data that they reported yesterday and compared with the previous quarters. In column J and column K, you see year over year comparison, and column K, quarter over quarter comparison. And column I is the latest number. So, in terms of revenue, looks to me they are fine 26.04 in the previous quarter versus the latest one 30.04. Net income also going in the right direction. But the problem that I see is the margin percentages. You see that profit margin, gross margin, and EBITDA margin percentages all went down in this quarter. So quarter over quarter comparison is negative. Another problem also I mentioned yesterday is the earnings surprise percentage. Even if the earnings went up from the previous quarter 10.49%, but the earnings beat were not so good. Let me show you the data. You see here, the earnings beat was just 5.66%. The last quarter it was 9.68%. And before that it was 11.45%. And one quarter prior it was 19.64% earnings surprise. And if you go one more quarter prior, that is 28.57% earnings surprise. So you see that the declining trend from 28 to 19 through 11 to 9 and then 5. So looking at this trend, a good analyst can see that in the next quarter or the following quarter, maybe Nvidia would be struggling on providing a positive earnings surprise. So they need to work on the earnings and the margin. I see some people are talking about it is the hedge fund that's causing trouble and bringing Nvidia down. I understand that. Even if the hedge fund managers are doing that, their job also is to make money, right? Let's suppose if the earnings beat were more than 15% and all the margin percentages compared with the previous quarter were positive yesterday, then the same hedge fund manager would be buying Nvidia more, right? Some market dynamics, right, that causes hedge fund managers to go in one direction versus another. So for a good hedge fund managers and a good investor, it's no brainer for them to understand that Nvidia earnings growth is shrinking. So Nvidia should be struggling in the short term, right? So they are taking money out from Nvidia at least in the short term, right? Another thing I mentioned in my previous video is the price range for this quarter. But I was trying to say the price range in this quarter, we should not expect the similar percentage increase that we saw in the previous quarter or one quarter prior. Let me show you what I mean. I put together the data for the last quarter, that is May 22nd through August 28th, and also one quarter prior. Okay, so you see that the minimum price in this quarter was 674.69, and the maximum price Nvidia touched was 953. So from min to max, that was 41% increase in that quarter. In the latest quarter, the minimum point Nvidia touched was 94.94 and the maximum point 135.6, and that was 42.8% increase. So looking at these two data, 41% increase versus 42% increase. So in this quarter, that's gonna be completed sometime end of November. I'm not expecting about 40% increase from this price, that we saw yesterday. So maybe the price range will shrink. Instead of 42% increase, maybe we can expect about 15 or 20% increase in this quarter. So that's what I was trying to mention yesterday. I did not show you any data to explain my point, but now I showed you these two tables, right? Now you understand better what I was trying to say yesterday. So now moving on, let's take a look. Forward P for Nvidia. So Nvidia forward P at this point is 41.09. So still some room for Nvidia to go down, but I'm expecting some recovery either tomorrow or early next week, right? Tomorrow would depend on the PC data. So we'll talk about PC data in a bit. Palantir at this point 91.18, slightly lower than the last week closing. SMCI 14.12 continues to go down. AMD forward P is 40.62 versus last week 43.28. It also went down. Now let's take a look some technical charts for Nvidia. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia and also the Fibonacci levels. The lowest point Nvidia touched in the recent time is this one. So I selected this point as my lowest point for Fibonacci levels, and the highest point is 140.56. So I drawn the Fibonacci levels for the shorter term interval. So based on these new Fibonacci levels, the next level of support was 116.69. So Nvidia tried to go down to this level, but it could not break 116.69. So today's lowest was 116.71. So this is a good support level as of this point, and after that is 1110.99. So there is a possibility that Nvidia might go down further and try to test this level, 110. On the higher side, the next level of resistance is 122.38, and after that is 129.42. So tomorrow's PC data is very important. So if you get any support from the PC data, then Nvidia might get some positive momentum and try to show some recovery tomorrow. But if the PC data is depressing, then we might see more drop on Nvidia tomorrow. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. So you see some news regarding Nvidia on your screen, starting with the top one, and this is from Jim Cramer. He is still with Nvidia. That's good. He doesn't want to trade at this point. So good for him. So another one that says market views Nvidia's incremental raises as less impressive, says Deep Water's Gene Munster. Okay, so he's trying to say the same thing what I mentioned yesterday. So I see that some analysts are starting to realize that the numbers are not so impressive. Another one that says US equities markets and mixed Thursday as market review macro data earnings. So that makes sense. Tomorrow we have the PC index, so market is little cautious today. So another one that says Nvidia shares slip despite a strong quarter. Analysts target price boost. So some analysts are still maintaining a strong price target for Nvidia. Let's take a look. So this one is from Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo. They also either raising or keeping their previous price target for Nvidia. So that's a good sign. In the long term, yeah, Nvidia future is bright. That's what I think. So now another one regarding Nvidia's earning that says Nvidia's earnings were boring, but stock still has plenty of runway, says Gabelese John Belton. So yeah, this one is aligned with my understanding. Yeah, the earnings were not so impressive, but there's plenty of room for Nvidia to improve, and the long-term future is good with Nvidia. Another one that says Nvidia's worth buying after pullback as future prospects brighten. Market talk. So that makes sense to me. If Nvidia goes down further, probably another 4 or 5%, that won't be a bad buying point. So if somebody wants to buy and keep it for some time. Now another one that's from Bernstein maintains outperform on Nvidia raises price target to 155. So 155, I'm not sure, but it's still achievable sometime this year. But I'm not seeing a 155 going to happen in next few weeks. Another price target, and that is from Piper Sandler, that maintains overweight on Nvidia, maintains price target 140. Another one, and that is from Wedbush, they rate outperform on Nvidia and maintains 138 price target. So after looking at these Nvidia news and analysis, it looks to me the mixed reaction from overall market and the analysts. Some are maintaining a strong future outlook, and some are cautious on Nvidia and think that Nvidia earnings good but not very impressive. You see the PC data forecast versus actuals for prior months and also the latest forecast. The latest forecast is 2.6%, and the last month the actuals came 2.5%, and that matched the forecast. In the last three cycle, you see that the actuals just matched the forecast, and the trend is down, right? So I'm hoping the actuals will not come higher than the forecast this time. So maybe there is a possibility that the actuals come lower than the forecast because the forecast is 2.6% higher than the last month. Now let's take a look core PC index. So the core PC index, you see the actuals last month came higher than the forecast. In the prior 2 months, they just matched the forecast and then one more higher than the forecast. So this cycle, the forecast is 2.7%, and there is a possibility that the actuals may either match the forecast or come lower than the forecast. So tomorrow, for both core PC index and overall PC index, I'm not expecting the actuals come higher than the forecast. So tomorrow we might see a green day for overall stocks. So that's my understanding. So that's all about my analysis regarding Nvidia for tomorrow and early next week. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.